It don't matter. That was my best friend. You made me lose my best friend because of you.
I didn't do nothing.
You are not the father. The secrets we keep inside, they affect us just as much, if not more.
Have you ever witnessed two best friends fight over the same dude? Talk about some quality friendship. Meet Miss Hadnot, who drops the bomb that she's carrying Mr. Matthews' baby. What does Miss Matthews do? Bam! She gets pregnant and marries the guy. Talk about a speedy resolution, right? This is how the session started.
It was just like a friendship, and then we ended up sleeping together. But she was at the house where we slept together.
And so she knew you were interested in him, or you guys had taken your friendship to the next level.
Yes, I feel that she just trifling because she knew from the front that we was together.
How long were you all together in that way?
Just that
How
one
long?
time.
Just that one time?
Yes.
So here's the deal. Miss Hadnot, who wasn't seen as a big deal at first, dropped the bomb that she'd been with another dude just a couple of days after hooking up with Mr. Matthews. Whoa, now isn't that spicy? But anyway, Mr. Matthews might have a different opinion about the whole scenario.
What made you doubtful about that?
Well, if somebody's saying they having I'm supposed to be the father, you gonna have them witness to be at the birth. You calling me after somebody else, and then not her mama calling me, saying, "Oh, you have a baby boy." Why ain't she telling me? Okay.
How am I supposed to call him and tell him I had a baby after surgery?
Now, aren't these the real doubts? Well, in my opinion, it doesn't matter who called. The point is that you did get a call. But hey, baby mama has just admitted to sleeping with another dude during the window of conception.
I didn't intend to fall in love, have a baby, and marry James. That was not my intention at all, and to hurt my best friend.
Yeah, but she has all this going on, and she was my everything. I was there for Terry through all her stuff.
And
no
I was
matter
there for
what.
her.
Her grandma, through everything, with her grandpa, all that, I was there for Terry.
She was.
And she was there for me, but she betrayed me.
So that's the main concern. The reason being the defendant has been pinning the baby on the happy couple because she left feeling betrayed. Just listen to how much Hadnot explains the long-wanted support that has been MIA from her dear friend.
Your best friend comes to you and says, "I'm pregnant by the same guy too." What did you think?
To tell you the truth, Your Honor, and I told her straight up, you know what? You can have that, because I never wanted him.
So what was the big deal in the workplace? You never wanted me. You pushed me away.
It don't matter.
since
That
high
was my
school.
best friend. You made me lose my best friend because
I
of
didn't
you.
do nothing. I didn't do nothing.
Mr. Matthews has a calendar that shows something interesting. Miss Matthews then confirms that she was at the doctor's office with her best friend, Miss Hadnot. Out of all of them, the man with the weirdest doubts explains that calendar. Buckle up for his explanation.
Your research that women can ovulate anywhere between day 11 and day 21 of their cycle, and that's a woman's most fertile time. You don't believe that your sexual encounter with her was during the time when she was truly ovulating and most fertile.
When she was last menstrual cycle was the 15th, there's no way possible it could be pointing at me.
What are you saying, Mr. Defendant? Are you even in your senses? Or are you a doctor yourself? Give me a break. Well, this feud was indeed getting more tangled up with each passing minute. How about we listen to Judge Lake for some sense talking?
I don't believe, being a woman and knowing a little bit about that biology, that you out of the clear. We'll say it like that. But I will give you this. I believe if this is true, and she says it's true that she slept with another man 2 to 3 days later, you have reason to doubt.
And with all that being said and done, even now there's enough testimony that's been recorded. It was now time for Judge Lake to call the shots on this story of best friend betrayal. So, here comes the DNA results.
Mr. Matthews, you are the father.
Thank you. I told you. I hate you. I promise. I don't want my son to be around you.
Hold on. I think you're hurt, and I think you have a right to be hurt. You had your ace that you always thought you had in your corner, which was Ms. Matthews. And I know what it means to have best friends.
Mr. Cooper was another paternity denier who wanted nothing to do with child support. A usual claim here, right, folks? He firmly believed that he couldn't be the father of Miss Canterbury's 2-year-old son, considering recent developments. Oh boy.
I watch people come in here all the time, and some people be good men and get criticized, and then they be sitting here, then all they want is just the money from it, and it ain't gonna be me today. She know that baby ain't mine. That's like she just called me last night talking about some, would you be mad if he wasn't yours?
That's a lie, though. That's a lie.
Indeed, it was a bold testimony. Mr. Cooper not only raised doubts about the defendant, but also had additional concerns to bring up about the mother of the child. It appeared as though he had been preparing for this moment throughout his life.
Well, we only had sex like 3 or 4 times together, that's it. And he told me while we were having sex that he wanted me to have his baby.
I'm gonna stop you right there. Your Honor, she's a lie. I never said that.
But you did. He said that.
I ain't say that.
What did you say?
I see it. I'm enjoying this moment right now in so many words.
Mr. Cooper appears to harbor some resentment toward the mother of the child. He came across as someone who was quick to place blame on others, and Mr. Plaintiff didn't stop there. His account of how he learned about Miss Canterbury's pregnancy was quite intriguing. It seems like there's a continuous stream of revelations unfolding.
How did you find out Miss Canterbury was pregnant?
I was on social media. I'm strolling. I see she pregnant. She took a picture. I liked it. She didn't say nothing.
Okay.
I liked it, the picture. Didn't say nothing to me.
This is the picture in the monitor you saw?
Yeah, that's one of the pictures. I liked it, a couple of them. She didn't say nothing to me.
The plaintiff had doubts, but nevertheless, amidst a web of past allegations, another surprising revelation emerged, casting a shadow over the entire courtroom. Miss Canterbury now finds herself owing everyone an explanation. Get your popcorn ready to enjoy this one.
You know this baby was my baby, or you claim it to be my baby. If you had a baby and you thought a man was your potential baby father, once you let him know whether he is or he not, you would
And
say
I did.
something. She admitted to it. Man, she admitted to being with other dudes, everything. When I met her, she
I
was
said
already
there was
messing with
one
other
other
people
person.
when I first met her.
I
You know
said
what
there
I'm
was
saying?
another person,
The
yeah.
first-
Miss Canterbury didn't waver in her statements, even when faced with intense accusations. But there's a twist. What about all the allegations she's been confronted with? Even when she tried to explain the timeline, it didn't seem to make a difference because Mr. Cooper had brought a conception calendar to court.
You see right here?
Yes.
In the week of September, this is the first time we had sex. I wore a condom.
Nope.
Second time we had sex was this week through the 28th. And I remember it was threesome. We was all drunk.
You are
And I had a
definitely
condom
a
on.
lie.
How are you so sure you wore the condom?
Judge, I woke up with it on.
Mr. Cooper, we're all here to find out if the baby is yours or not. The drama of doubts was still going strong, and both sides were eagerly waiting for the results. So, here's what the paternity test envelope says.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Cooper, you are the father.
Like I said. That's what I thought.
All right, paternity peeps, how about we all budge into the family reunion of Mr. Cooper? After 3 decades, his mama dropped a bombshell that these were not Mr. Cooper's senior sons, but probably belonged to a casual fling, Mr. Newbie. Whoa! Well, Mr. Cooper, you're lucky. Now you got 2 dads.
What happened 2 months ago that started all of this?
I get a call about 3 o'clock in the morning. My mama called and told me that the person she told me was my daddy and wasn't my father, that this gentleman was, and to go online and look him up.
And this is what your mother tells you?
Yes.
What are you thinking?
All kind of things.
Like
I
what?
thought it was a joke, actually. Honestly, I thought she was playing.
Wow, that's one heck of a wake-up alarm. Can you just imagine the shock Mr. Cooper must have been through? Well, Mama here seems like a big movie fan. According to Mama, it was something she just had to take off her chest and put it on her sons. Bravo!
I keep a secret for 34 years.
I was very young, a teenager, when this all happened. And like me and Mr. Newby, we were very good friends back then. If I told my parents that Mr. Newby was Dante's dad, then I thought, being a kid, that we wouldn't be able to be friends anymore or play it together anymore.
She kept everything a secret, just so she could play kick the can with the alleged baby daddy. That was indeed some strong bonding back in time, but these choices have left poor Mr. Cooper into a turmoil of emotions.
And so when she said, were you messing with little boys? You said no, it comes out. What happens the day she finds out you're really pregnant?
In my 8th month, she took me to the doctor, and when I had my exam, and he came back and he told my mom, yes, ma'am, she's pregnant, and she's very, very pregnant.
And you didn't go to the doctor and your parents didn't know until you were 8 months pregnant?
Yes, Your Honor.
Clearly, the baby mama has been very confused. The reason being, she was young around that age. Now, we know someone has been playing more games than just hide and seek. Okay, just hold that thought right there. And how about we listen to the defendant to acknowledge his side of the story?
I got a message on Messenger, and I looked on there and it said, "You're not gonna believe this. This is your child, real talk," and with a picture of Dante on it. And then I texted her back, and she didn't say nothing. I said, "You can't drop a bombshell on me like that and don't elaborate." And I waited until she finally responded. I said, "Because how could I be the father? I never seen you pregnant."
What a plain excuse by the defendant. Haven't you people been playing around together? And now, Mr. Newbie, you just go like saying you never saw the mama pregnant. Well, we don't want to know your pretty lies and whatnot. How about we just stay in the present and talk about the day you found out about your alleged son?
So, Mr. Newbie, you still feel in disbelief at this point. You see pictures of Mr. Cooper. Are you now curious? What do you do at this point? I mean, this is news 34 years later.
My family members exactly that right there and asked them what did they think.
And what did they say?
Everybody said he looks like you.
After all those years, coming across pictures of Mr. Cooper, Mr. Newbie showed those pictures to his family members. And guess what they all said? He looks just like you. And the icing on the cake, they both had a toothpick thing going on. Hilarious, right?
Mr. Cooper, did you have a relationship with the other man?
Nah.
How did that affect you growing up?
Man, it played its part, you know. I got off the porch a little early.
So when you say you got off the porch a little early, I think that means when you are a kid, Did you get in trouble as a kid?
Yes.
With emotions of guilt and hurt surfacing, it was time for the judge to pull out the DNA report to bring some closure to the years-long paternity doubts. So, how about with enough testimony recorded, we just focus on what Judge Lake is about to read.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Newbie, you are not the father.
In another case, we have the classic tale of Mr. Germany dodging the daddy duties of 3-month-old Pandora. Regardless of holding some damning evidence, he's secretly hoping he's wrong. That's right! How about we go ahead and dive into the courtroom drama? Here we go!
Well, Your Honor, I'm here to save my family. I'm a good daddy. I have 5 other kids with her. This is what makes 6. I'm always there for my kids. Homework, school, dishes, chores, everything. I'm a good daddy. Little baby is gorgeous. She shouldn't have no type of bad feelings towards her, you know? So I'm hoping that these results will, you know, save my family.
Aw, now isn't that sweet? The alleged baby daddy wanted the baby to be his. You want to know his reasons? Well, he himself had a lonely childhood, but that's not the point. How about we just focus on the nature of their relationship?
We was off and on for quite a long time. Me and her got rocky. I was seeing other people, she was seeing other people. We got back talking probably like 2017. We was having on and off sex unprotectedly.
So you weren't committed, but you were still having unprotected sex.
Okay, so Mr. Germany was unsure if he was the father since she had taken a negative pregnancy test before he moved in with her. The man never saw the negative test and doubted the timeline of the pregnancy. Let's hear him out.
2 weeks after October, we was still, you know, messing around while I moved there. She take another pregnancy test, she's pregnant. We go to the doctor telling us that she's 3 months pregnant. So I'm like, I only been here 2 weeks. I know we was sleeping around, but you took one 2 weeks ago, and it was negative. So after that, my doubts kind of raised, like, it's not adding up.
What in the world? Well, Miss Holliday, you know what's the case here? In paternity court, we don't go by the baby's yours or not based on looks, because the looks can often be deceiving. But since she already has babies with the alleged daddy, why will she want to pin this baby on the poor man?
Me and her were sharing a cell phone at a point in time when I moved in. We both went in on the cell phone we were sharing. She went to the store, so I go to log into my Facebook page, but her page is still logged in. And I see an active conversation she's having with another gentleman, talking about, I'm pregnant. The guy asked her instantly, like, is it mine?
Really?
She told me that she didn't sleep with this guy in a year.
So there's this whole dramatic mess, right? Mr. Germany caught a chat about some baby situations on Miss Holliday's Facebook. Oh boy, he was like, why didn't you just say it ain't his? And Miss Holliday's like, I did, eventually. All right, back to the session.
How would
Now
you
the
expect
Facebook-
someone not to talk to anyone else when you're doing all the talking to all the women? Like, you're telling women that I'm putting babies on you. Like,
This is
I have
putting a baby
5
on-
kids with
This is
you. I don't
the
have a
truth.
reason to put another one on you. Like, I don't understand that.
The same reason why you wouldn't have a reason not to tell this guy that he's not the father instead of asking the guy a question.
Well, when the message dude was confronted by Mr. Germany, he was already denying the kids. But according to our plaintiff, he was doing so because the baby mama had already confronted the man. Huh, I might be thinking that Miss Holiday has been planning for a big betrayal.
She was just with me today. I dressed her, before we got here. Like, I love that little girl. Like, I love my other daughters and my son. I love all my kids. Like,
And I'm
they
a
all
good
I have.
mother as well. He's the only father I have with. I have no other baby's fathers but him.
I gave that baby my last name. I prayed that baby is mine because it's gonna break my family up. Like, my family is all I have.
Oh man, I just hope that the test results rule in favor of Mr. Germany, because we don't want the family of the poor man to break apart. With that being said, how about we just focus on the DNA envelope? So, 1, 2, and 3, here comes Judge Lake, aka the DNA Queen.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Germany, you are the father.
You the one that wanted this.
No, I wanted it to show you. I wanted to show you we never had this problem until they got in the middle of us.
Let's get some order.
You've had 28 years for it to be yours. And what have you done with them?
What have you done with them?
I didn't know. I keep
What have you done with them?
Mr.
You was up at the
Jackson, let's get
hospital
some
when I
order.
wasn't here to be up there.
Let's get some order.
A 30-year-old family feud was now coming up to the surface for one final showdown. The Poravecchios and the Touche Lutzes were ready for the paternity rumble. It's a saga of deception, doubt, and dollars, all centering around a mysterious paternity claim.
Miss Touche and her daughter, Miss Lutz, fraudulently received $150,000 in settlement money from the death of your father, and her mother covered up that fact. You've petitioned this court for a DNA test and hope to pursue a claim in your home state to have the money returned to your family.
Yes, Your Honor.
This bad blood had been smoldering for decades. It was sparked by rumors and lies about a daughter's true parentage, aka Miss Lutz. Apparently, Daddy Dearest died under mysterious circumstances, and as soon as he died, Mama Lutz made a slight change in daughter's name, and the rest was history.
Working and he drowned. Accidental death is what it's said on his death certificate.
That's what it was declared.
That's what it was.
It's declared as accidental death, drowned.
Your father at the time was married to
My mom.
Me.
I feel the settlement was awarded to Miss Touche. Mrs. Lutz had a maiden name, her mother's Touche as a maiden name of Theo.
Now Mr. Poravecchio was here with a heavy heart, betrayed by the very people he thought were family. On the other hand, the defendant was all the more ready to dive right into the reasons why they had to change her name. Something doesn't add up here, and it shows.
They were already going to get my name changed, and after he died, she had to have it changed so that I can get the Social Security benefits that I deserve, just like Ricky did, and just like my other brother did.
It was with Ricky and I's full intention on changing my daughter's name as soon as we could come up with the money to do so.
The plaintiff brought not one, but 2 witnesses along. Yep, he wasn't going down without a fight. Oh, he had it bad for these people. But before the witness could say anything, there goes Miss Lutz ranting along. Let someone else speak for a second, Missy.
Actually met my mom at Mardi Gras and begged her to let us back in her life, which she did.
Yes, I did.
And then when we were at a restaurant celebrating my brother's birthday after being in contact for a year, she walks right past us at the restaurant on my brother's birthday like she didn't know us with her parents. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Oh,
She
Lord,
walked right past us.
something.
Oh dear, there was a lot of bad blood here. It seemed the supposed sister had a heck of a lot of anger stored in her heart, all directed towards the Poravecchio family. But most of all, she felt betrayed by the brother who started denying her since she was 5.
I loved Ricky with all my heart, and the fact that he would even question me and him being brother and sister kills me because I look just like my daddy. If anybody looks like my daddy, I look just like my daddy. I have a lot of anger for the Poravecchios, my daddy's side of the family, because when my daddy passed away, they passed away. They basically were out of my life for good by their own choice.
Wow, that was quite something. Moving on, the auntie finally got to speak. And boy, she had a surprising revelation in her sleeve tucked away, and Mama Lutz was real quick to shut her down. Moreover, Miss Laura took this opportunity to rip the family open. Uh-oh.
I just couldn't help myself. I fell in love with him. After a couple of days, we started seeing each other for a while, and it was just him and I, just us together. Things were great. I got pregnant. I was almost 18 years old. I got pregnant. Things started going a little downhill from there because he started showing signs of jealousy and issues going on.
You wanted crazy? We got crazier for you, paternity peeps. Now, the baby mama claimed she wasn't tangoing with the family friend, but she ultimately did after the husband's death. Hold on, there's more. She also didn't go to his funeral alone. I told you, something was amiss. Sneaky.
As I'm waiting, one of the mechanics came out of the back who was a friend of my older brother and saw me sitting there. He went to the auto parts store, bought brakes for my car, replaced them on my car. When I got home is when I found out my husband was so upset that I had been gone for so long.
Time for Miss Laura Lutz to go back down memory lane and describe her relationship with the supposed father. According to her, she was a daddy's girl. Hard to believe that, if Daddy was also questioning paternity.
All of his belongings.
Your mother took that
and didn't give them back to me, didn't let me have anything from my dad. And now they're taking my brother from me just because they have so much hatred in their heart.
And you two were close.
We were always close. My mother would make sure we stayed and kind of take weekends with him like that, like she had visitation with him, like it was her child. We never fought. This is the first time we've ever had a disagreement.
Wow, that was quite a settlement money the legal wife received. No wonder there was all this drama over it. And pretty soon, these guys were at each other's throats regarding the manner they spent this money on. Quite a spectacle indeed.
My mother cared for me and my younger brother with that money, and I don't have any regret on how she decided to spend it. One house. She bought one house for us.
Mr. Porvecchio, it is your intention that you want to return to your home state, file a claim to have that money returned to you. You believe...
Well, if she comes out she's not my biological sister, I will pursue that.
With the verdict hanging in the balance, the courtroom holds its breath. But these guys were not going anywhere. Time to see if these guys have the capacity to let bygones be bygones, or if it's just wishful thinking.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Porvecchio and Ms. Lutz are siblings.
Thank you. Keep up the lies, Ricky. Keep up the lies.
You're done, Ricky.
Thank you very much, Dawn.
You the one that wanted this.
No, I wanted it to show you. I wanted to show you we never had this problem until they got in the middle of us.
The plaintiff brought her ex-fiance to court to prove to his face he was the baby daddy. But the said baby daddy believed his fiance was not faithful, and so the engagement came to an end. But these guys had one more stop, the paternity court. Check out how these immediately started ripping into each other.
Your Honor, I am extremely upset with this man. I have tried time and time and again to convince him that he is the only man I had objective sex with when my son was conceived, but he refuses to believe me. I've been trying for the past
That's not
year.
true.
I've been trying for the past year and a half to convince him that this is his son, but he denies the fact that it is his child.
Miss Mahan and Mr. Shrum were once in love. I know, seems highly unlikely. But they were, and it went sour really soon. They were engaged and living together. But hold on, there's a twist. Enter the ex-boyfriend living under their roof with them. Yeah, can you say Three's Company?
One night, I woke up and she was next to me. I go out to the living room and she's underneath the covers with her ex.
Okay, let's start from there. You were living together in a relationship.
Yes, ma'am.
You're in the bed one night, wake up, she's not there.
Nope.
And you do what? You go where?
I go out to the living room to see if I can find her, and she's underneath the covers with her ex.
No wonder baby daddy's doubts got as big as a Hollywood blockbuster budget. It's a tale of hurt and betrayal from the defendant's perspective. Next up, baby mama ended up sharing too much information. Prepare yourselves for some cringe-worthy content. But guess what? The baby daddy had no recollection of it at all.
About a month after me and him got together and he moved in with me.
I never knew she was pregnant.
That is a lie. I called called you and I
Forever.
told you that I was pregnant the day I found out I was pregnant.
You told me that you were pregnant after we split up, after I called your mom's cell phone, you were at the hospital.
So you were pregnant, and you're saying that you told Mr. Shrum from the get-go, I'm pregnant.
Yes, Your Honor.
Moving on, Mr. Shrum tried to have a conversation about the third party in their house, but that conversation certainly didn't go as planned. So much so, these guys took their arguing to the next level. Come on, people.
I told him to quiet down. My mom had to get up the next morning to go to work at 4 o'clock. He started hollering and screaming at me. I slapped him on the arm and told him, you need to quiet down. You're gonna wake up my mother. He turns around and bites me. I scream and my mom comes in the room and tells him he needs to get out or she was gonna call the cops.
Did you bite her?
Yes, he did. Yes, Your Honor, he did.
In the midst of all this crazy confusion and desperation, the mother of the plaintiff came up. And man, she was feisty. Oh, she was really mad at the supposed baby daddy. Apparently, while he was off being a deadbeat, she had been taking care of the baby.
I am the grandmother. I am not the father. I have raised this child. He's almost 2 years old. I have done nothing but raised him, clothed him, diapered him, made sure he had food in his belly and a roof over his head.
So you're pregnant now. During this time, is he supporting you at all?
No,
is he helping?
No, Your Honor, he did not.
He's a deadbeat.
Better fasten your seatbelts. It was about to get even crazier here. Evidently, Mr. Shrum had never seen the baby. More so, when baby mama tried to get in contact with him after the birth, the guy pulled a really cheap trick. And baby mama just lost it recalling that.
After I had my son, when they finally let me go home, and he asked me, what's wrong? Did you lose the baby?
How, Mr. Shrum, do you ask her, did she lose the baby if you never knew she was pregnant?
It's like, because I talked to her that the same day that she had it, and she's like, oh yeah, I was pregnant with your son. I was like, okay, how is this?
Suspense, people, suspense! The courtroom was drowning in it. Let's cut to the chase and bring an end to this fiasco. Time to see what future this paternity saga held and what became of the little baby boy.
You are the father.
Booyah!
You are.
Can't believe I wasn't there for him.
You have regrets.
Who knew a run-of-the-mill couples argument would end up revealing such a big secret? That's what happened to this plaintiff and defendant. And in doing so, their poor daughter's world came crashing down. But hold on, there was another key player in this saga as well.
Miss Galaviz, you stand before the court with your 28-year-old daughter, Miss Smith. Only 3 years ago, you revealed a lifelong secret to her. You confessed that the only man she's ever known as her dad may not be her biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Galaviz was a master of romantic multitasking, I must say. Juggling 2 potential dads like a pro? Poor Mr. Thompson and Mr. Jackson, both clueless about their shared role in this dramatic soap opera. But now, they finally collided in this front lawn showdown. Let's see how the mommy ended up making such a mess. With the help of the calendar, of course.
So you were dating her. Did you have any idea that she was also dating Mr. Thompson?
No, I did not.
Mr. Thompson,
Yes,
you
Your Honor.
obviously remember the relationship with Miss Galaviz as well?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
So, Miss Galaviz, when you're dating both of these gentlemen, were you telling each of them that, I'm dating you, but I'm also dating other people, or did each man think you were exclusive with them?
I didn't tell neither one of them.
Cue the emotional turmoil, because there was a lot regarding this paternity mess. While the defendant was kept in the loop, the other baby daddy? Not so much. But he still arrived at the hospital at the time of birth.
Mr. Jackson, what about you?
Well, it was in a convenience store one day, if I can recall correctly. I say, what happened? Are you pregnant? Yeah, it's not yours. She was very sarcastic about it. And I was like, okay. So I left well enough alone. I kept track of the time and everything. And when she gave birth to the young lady, I went there.
To the hospital?
Yes.
Oh, what a mess! Miss Galaviz's pregnancy journey was like a roller coaster with no seatbelts. About time the guys got to know they were being played. Mr. Jackson went for the confrontation, but he was met with stone-cold denial. And in doing so, 28 years went by. So the guy was pretty mad. and he laid it all out.
I had heard rumors and different things like that, and I went to his house and I confronted him. I told him you being played for a fool. You claiming somebody else's child. Simple.
You claim they were
And how did you know he was claiming somebody else's child? How did you
Because
know it wasn't his?
I did the numbers also, and the numbers worked out for me too. And
So you thought you were the father as well?
Yes.
Who knew a sixth finger would end up causing this much trouble? Oh, but it did. The alleged daughter got to know about this trait when her own son was born. And since then, her paternity alarm had been ringing like crazy.
It was just one day at the house. My mom was just first kidding around. And then it got kind of serious after I had my child, who was born with 6 fingers. And that's when she actually told me that Mr. Jackson also had the 6 fingers as well. So it kind of ran in the family. Woo! Out of the blue?
It's a game of genetic roulette, people, leaving everyone scratching their heads. Wow, all this evidence, and Mr. Thompson still believed he was the father. Why? Well, because he did his own research on said 6th finger, and that led him here. Boy, quite a lot of math and research going on in solving this paternity puzzle. And then they were ripping into each other again.
Mr. Thompson, you say you know in your heart that she's your child, and yet this physical trait, this 6th finger that her child has.
I did my research on this 6 finger. That's some hereditary
And your research
stuff.
says what,
It's some
sir?
hereditary stuff that it doesn't happen all the time like that.
Well, the baby daddy Thompson had his fingers crossed and wanted the daughter to be his. It was clear as day. But baby daddy Jackson wasn't too impressed by that, it seemed. Apparently, these guys were gonna waste any moment to pick a fight. Come on!
You've had 28 years for it to be yours. And what have you done with them?
What have you done with them?
I didn't know.
What have you done with them?
Mr.
You was up at the
Jackson, let's get some
hospital when I
order.
wasn't here to be up there.
Let's get some order. Mr. Jackson, what are your hopes today?
I hope she's mine, even if she's not. From this day forward, that young lady don't have to want for anything long as I have a heartbeat.
Finally, the moment of truth arrived. The DNA results were in. Now, who will claim the title of fatherhood? The results will surely cause quite a ruckus. So, let's hear the judge's verdict.
It has been determined that her biological father is Mr. Thompson.
Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Sean, thank you.
Apologize, Ronald.
I'm so sorry that I wasn't there.
Mr. Jackson, you're okay?
Long time now. Thank you, sir.
But then the babysitter decided, I'm gonna get in there and mediate this.
She was trying to sink shit.
So she sent a text to the ex and said, the baby looks like you.
I'm not raised like that.
Blah, blah, blah. Hold on. You don't have any respect for yourself, but you will respect your mother in this court.
Love, doubt, and DNA collided. And Mr. Hoover brought the defendant to court to prove he fathered their baby girl. And the stakes couldn't be higher. Through the roof for the baby daddy. Will the truth reveal itself, or will it remain shrouded in mystery? Well, we're about to get to the bottom of that.
Your Honor, I love these girls. They're my world, and I just love everything. I just love everything about these women, and I just want everything to be right.
And so you feel like you're doing everything possible, and it's so important to you to be the biological father. I see the tears in your eyes.
Yes.
Once upon a time at a convenience store far, far away, the star-crossed lovers, Mr. Hoover and Miss Armour, met and fell in love. Well, it started with cheesy pickup lines and a pink bracelet. That's all it took for the sparks to fly. However, this fairy tale soon turned into a nightmare as the dreaded ex lurking in the shadows came forth. Uh-oh.
He pulled out a pink bracelet and he said, I made this for you. And it was the first time we ever really had a real conversation. And I didn't believe him because I'm like, oh, that's a cheesy pickup line. You just went and bought this. And he really did. We ended up exchanging phone numbers. And within that week, we started to hang out.
It was going all rainbows and sunshine, but the mommy destroyed it all for a one-night stand with the ex. Ew! What she didn't know was that her infidelity came up with an even bigger cost. Dun dun dun! A baby! Baby daddy was thrilled, but mommy knew best. She messed up. big time.
A month or so, maybe 2, and I actually found out when I was with Lee. I was scared and I told him I think I'm pregnant. We went and got a test, and when it came up positive, we both just started to cry because I knew there might have been 2 possibilities.
Even after the confession, the baby daddy was still hopeful about the conception window. Delusional or plain old hopeless romantic? Figure that one out. But moving on, as they embarked on this journey riddled with uncertainty, baby daddy was right alongside the baby mama.
Why would you do that, Mr. Hoover, when you know you may not be her biological father?
It didn't matter to me. I was there, and I love her. You know, I was telling myself I'm gonna love this baby too, because they all deserve the love that is required for their upbringing.
Continuing with the mess, Miss Armour did take the infamous ex into the loop, but he didn't appear too thrilled over the news. And so, after much needed talk with Mr. Hoover, baby mama decided to cut the ex out of her life for good, and he couldn't be happier about it. Gross, dude, indeed.
I was mad at my ex at the time. I did not like his lifestyle. I didn't want him in her life if she was his or not. Lee actually did not agree with that, but we decided he will be her father. I messaged my ex and said, she's not yours.
Oh, and he accepted that. He said, okay, thank you.
All he said was, K.
Guess who came back? Ding, ding, ding. It was the ex. These guys just couldn't get rid of him, could they? Like a bad fungus, he was back. But the manner in which he was back was a bit vague, if I do say so myself.
Even at the beginning, like she said, I didn't want her to text.
Yes, she said you thought it was a bad idea.
I was trying to counsel her, and I was trying to tell her we need to make this right. This is not just about us, her other possibility. It is about Nova Lee, and it should always be about Nova Lee. Nova Lee's here now, it's her.
What? Would you look at that? Seemed like not just the ex, but the babysitter was also after these guys. What the heck was going on with their household, man? That's nuts.
He got a message from our babysitter asking for baby pictures of him. And he said, well, I just want to compare. And he said, are you kidding me? They didn't get a DNA test. And she let his mind wander with it.
Had you told him you'd gotten a DNA test?
No.
Well, the ex couldn't grace the court with his delightful presence. Awfully convenient. But no worries, because his mother was more than happy to give a statement and proving why his son could not be the baby daddy. And everyone believed that, except for baby mama. Wow.
This would be his miracle child. This matter needs to be settled soon as possible. My son wants to add his name to the child's birth certificate and change her last name if he is the father. This is the statement from his mother, Lynn Bird.
I mean, there is no possibility that can be his baby. That is my baby.
The baby daddy was suffering a great deal, and his desperation was quite visible. All his answers were sealed in that envelope. Let's see what the judge's verdict held for this family.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Hoover, you are not the father. I'm so sorry.
We needed to know.
Miss Jasmine's life was all hunky-dory, and then out of nowhere, her whole world got shifted when her mother told her secret she had been keeping. Since then, the plaintiff had been on one heck of a journey for answers. But Mr. Little didn't appear to back down that easily.
So when I was about 11 years old, I got his number off a family member that's married to his family member. And I called him up on the phone.
When you were 11?
When I was 11. And I told him who I was, who my mother was, and what I believed. And he told me that he don't know, he need a DNA test, he don't think so.
Come on, man, give the poor girl a break. I mean, who does that to an 11-year-old? So, taking matters into her own hands, Miss Degree got down to business and made the much-needed phone call. To her dismay, though, the call didn't go as planned. Ouch!
When I found out she made the call, I wasn't even angry at her. I was more angry at Mr. Little for telling her that he don't think that he's her father.
And
to an 11-year-old, when you could have just told her, I feel like me and your mom should discuss this instead of telling.
Well, why did you call me and tell me that?
Told you baby daddy wasn't gonna back down. And more so, the guy even brought a calendar from 24 years ago, illustrating the window of conception. Man, he came prepared. He just couldn't wait to wash his hands of the entire situation. And it showed grossly.
You saw Miss Degree in November.
We messed around.
And she told you she was 1 month pregnant at that time.
Yes, she did.
On the second page of your calendar, you claim that you were intimate with her in August, which was just 3 months earlier, so therefore you know that wasn't the window of conception.
Now, amidst the window of conception fiasco, the daughter ended up raising a good question. But Mr. Hoover was all the more ready to answer that as well. He paid child support, and he did not like it. And then the court got plunged into pure chaos. Bang that gavel, Judge. They need some order.
You were so adamant that wasn't your child and they was taking money out your check. You should have wanted a blood test.
Hold up, I got that too, baby. I got that too. Hold up, I got this right here. Hold up, I got this right here. When I went to the court and they tried to get in contact with her for a DNA test, she never showed up. And I paid for 2 tests that they never showed up for.
Dear Lord, these guys thought they weren't in court, but in their backyard or something. Now, according to that evidence, the defendant did appear for the hearing, but interestingly enough, the mother-daughter duo did not. What's up with that, huh? And so, the garnishment stopped. Sounds pretty shady, though.
Why didn't you tell her then this is somebody else your dad? Why you had her believing that he was her dad? Then years later, she's 9 years old, you don't tell her I'm her dad.
And granted, that's my fault, but see, me being an adult, I can accept that and take that. But you being an adult and claim the fact that you never took care of her.
I ain't taking care of her.
You sitting here, you sounding stupid.
Well, the drama didn't stop there. Oh no, it went on, people. Miss Degree had all the right questions for the defendant. However, his response didn't sit too well with the judge, and we know what she will do next, don't we? School was in session.
What was that like after you got that news?
I was kind of distraught. It's like, how could you say that to a child? All I want to know is what's going on. So I'm not blaming them, saying you're wrong or nothing. I tried to reach out to you as a kid, but now I'm coming as an adult to see if you're acting very childish. Like, come on now. We can both be grown. We can be grown here.
Moving on, Miss Jasmine's brother came up to support her, but he also had a few things to share. Specifically, the manner the alleged baby daddy reacted the day his sister made that call. Wow, the man had no remorse.
He said, I need a DNA test, and he hung up. Like, that just explains what type of man you are right there.
Exactly.
Hold up, the kind of man, I'm the one that reached out to come here to find out, to see what was going on.
You said,
but we still need to know. I got 2 other kids, I took care of. One more wouldn't have made no difference.
The moment we've all been waiting for, the DNA results were in. It was a long time coming for Miss Jasmine Degree, and she deserved to know where she came from. Let's see whether her search came to an end or not.
Mr. Little, you are her father.
This is my father.
Mr. Little, you really seem shocked.
I really am.
Don't cry, Mom. You my dad.
There were 2 brothers, a promiscuous partner, and a beautiful baby girl who hung in the balance. Yup, a packed situation over here. Miss Johnson stood firm in her belief, but the defendant, not so much. And he had a lot to say. So hold on to your DNA swabs, folks, as we dive into this tangled web of love, lust, and all kinds of uncertainties.
Ms. Johnson had a sexual relationship with 2 other men. You fear one of those men are the child's father.
Yes, Your Honor. There's 3 men that could possibly be her baby daddy. Of course, there's me, her ex-boyfriend before me, and this man sitting next to me who I consider a brother.
So, a Casanova father gave birth to a Casanova son. And we got Mr. Blackmont. Yep, that pretty much sums him up and his personality. And boy, did he have some gross ideologies. To sum it up, he didn't like the taste of his own medicine. And somebody better check on Houston, because those guys are still living in the dark ages, man.
Your Honor, when I first met Mr. Blackmont, I was already in a relationship. I was well taken care of. Me and my son had no need or want for anything. I jumped out of a relationship with my ex to be with him because there was an instant connection. And 2 weeks after I moved in with the defendant, I had sex with his brother. We had a threesome, so there's 3 possibilities.
Did you hear that and cringe out? Because I sure did. And this was just the start of the case too. Baby daddy, who once proudly declared his disregard for anybody's girl, now found himself in the same boat. While questioning the baby mama's promiscuity, the poor guy failed to make sense of his actions.
It was like a test for me to go ahead and let her go
But
ahead.
you're still with me though, and you had a baby with me that we purposely did.
So you're in a relationship with an older man.
Yes.
And then you all decide out with the old, in with the new, right?
We just had the instant connection.
So you had an instant connection. You all said, we're gonna be together.
Yeah.
So she jumped from one relationship straight to another. And a mere 2 weeks after moving in, she was getting intimate with his brother. I mean, what? Can somebody make sense of this, please? And like this mess wasn't messy enough, caution was thrown out the window too.
You didn't want her to fail the test.
But then, Your Honor,
And
this was supposed to be like a
around
one-time.
the time that Viviana was conceived?
Yes.
You say this threesome thing was supposed to be a one-time thing.
I'm thinking while I was at work though, because after that following week after that one time, my door kept being locked. I kept knocking on the door. So I'm thinking they've been doing it more than one time, Your Honor, honestly.
Now this ought to be fun. Imagine untangling the mysteries of this window of conception when there are threesomes happening. Was it during Mr. Blackman's tryst, Mr. Gross's escapades, or perhaps even her previous relationship? Anything was possible. But check out the irony. The cousin's name was Gross. What are the odds, man?
Now she telling me it happened twice. Now he telling me it happened 10 times. I don't know who to believe. So how am I gonna? How am I supposed to get married to her?
I'm not gonna lie to you like that. Come on,
Mr. Blackman, you know, as much as I want to feel sorry for you because I can see you're hurting, you opened the door and your brother ran right on in.
I couldn't have summed it up better than that, Judge. Prepare to be even more dumbfounded. Don't say I didn't warn you. Apparently, these guys were trying for a baby. Not the threesome way, the old-fashioned way. But seriously, man, what? In 2 weeks, these guys were jumping ships like crazy. Imagine the mother's horror upon finding her daughter in such a predicament.
When she is 15, she is sending a naked picture in the cell phone. I'm not raised like that, so I sent her to Philippines so she could learn a lesson. She never...
Blah, blah, blah.
We have established that you don't have any respect for yourself, but you will respect your mother in this courtroom.
Well, the mother never wanted her daughter to be here. And yet, here she was. Funny how that went. I don't think even a conception calendar can help this situation here. Still, it came up, and it seemed the woman was good enough for these guys in bed, but not so much out of it. Double standards much?
Who do you believe Viviana's father is?
I believe it's Mr. Black.
Your Honor, I believe it's not nan one of ours. I believe
That's not true.
If you have sex with 2 men, you had sex with 4. You have sex with 4, you had sex with 8.
That's not true.
You had sex with 8, you had sex with 16. So I don't know who it is.
Bringing the curtain down on this gross case, I bet it was a delight for everyone watching. Ugh. Jokes aside, the actions produced a baby whose fate hung in the balance. Let's see what the future holds for her.
Her father is Mr. Blackman.
I told you. I told you. I told you.
One thing I can say about you two young people, it's time for you all to go behind your door in your home and turn the top lock and lock him out.
And the fact that it upsets her, I'm wondering, why does it upset you so much if I went down there anyway? Like, are you gonna get it if I don't claim it?
I called him dad because he raised me from the time I was 13.
Girl, no, he didn't raise
He bought
you.
my senior
Then why
picture.
did you always come to me for money and not them if he's
I
your
go
dad?
to them.
When poor Miss Wilson's son died a month ago, she had no idea so many women would flock to her home. Even worse, she was shocked to know that every single lady seemed to say that her son was the father of their kids. How could a dead man get multiple women pregnant?
I just want to know who's his kids, who's not his kids, because everybody's talking about they got kids.
How many women?
It's 11 people. We're talking 11 kids here. So,
oh my goodness,
it's not just these 2 young ladies, you know. It's other women that's like literally inboxing me.
While there are 11 women claiming Mr. Dames impregnated them, only 2 had the courage to show up in court today. First, Judge Lauren gives Miss Felix a chance to explain how everything happened. When Miss Felix starts telling her story, it's like Miss Wilson might get a heart attack.
He was a complete part of her life. He made sure I was doing right while I was pregnant. He was the one providing me the food. He went to every doctor's appointment. He was there throughout the whole thing. She also knew about it. She used to come to my house. We used to play cards and hang out. So we were in a serious relationship, and she knows it.
So if Miss Felix says that Miss Wilson knew her son had a daughter with her, and she even maintained a special bond with her, what's the reason for Miss Wilson denying all these paternity claims now? It's really heartbreaking for Miss Felix, especially because Mr. Dames himself admitted that he was the father.
Before my son died, we was talking for the past 6 months before he passed away. He had doubt about several kids. Her baby was one, Darielle baby was the next one. He told me not to say anything to anybody about it, so I kept it a secret between him and I.
Once the true story's out, it becomes clear that Mr. Dames wasn't honest with any of these women. He faked being the father of all these babies and kept telling different stories to his mother. What hurt Miss Wilson was how these women immediately called Social Security so they could have money. And Mr. Dames hadn't even gotten a funeral yet.
I had no clue. You were supposed to wait till someone was buried to get Social Security. I didn't know you had to wait. He was paying child support for my baby anyway, okay? And the fact that it upsets her, I'm wondering, why does it upset you so much if I went down there anyway? Like, are you gonna get it if I don't claim it? Are you worried about them not getting the money? Like, what is your problem? I don't understand.
When Miss Felix keeps arguing, Miss Wilson brings in Miss Turner as witness, her son's cousin. She tells the judge the same thing. How Mr. Dames knew Miss Felix cheated on him. So, is the baby even his? But Miss Felix claims that her daughter called Mr. Dames daddy, and now that he's gone.
It got to Darielle baby. I never took part of Darielle baby since day one, and when she brought that kid to my house, I told her that baby looks just like her. He doesn't look like my son. Those were the words I told her out my own mouth. I never had any parts with that baby, period.
Miss Wilson ended up having a fight with Mr. Dames when he was alive. When she saw how carelessly he signed his name on all those birth certificates, she told him to stop. At this point, Judge Lauren asks Miss Brown to share her side of the story, which puts Miss Wilson into a state of complete shock.
We moved pretty quickly, but we indeed were in a relationship. He claimed it and I claimed it. So we moved forward. Like I said, he came to me about me being pregnant. With the bug being planted in my ear, I went ahead, set the appointment. Him and his family member took me to the appointment, found out that I was pregnant. I found out I was pregnant July 15th.
Miss Wilson seemed uninterested in having any kind of a relationship with her son's potential kids. In fact, none of the women who claim Mr. Dames got them pregnant received any kind of child support either. So, are they really in it for the money? Guess it's time for Jerome to hand over the envelope.
Mr. Dames is the father.
Sorry about that, Louis. So I will be a part of her life.
Mr. Dames is the father. You all are still processing.
It's bound to turn into a tricky situation when two daughters are fighting over their daddy. Miss Boyer and Miss Fields both think Mr. Sandifer is their father, and they're not going to leave the court until they've settled this once and for all. First, it's Miss Fields' turn.
2 years ago, I sent him a message on Facebook asking him if I could borrow some money, and he responded with, maybe I need to find my real dad, that he wasn't even my father.
That's not true. I was upset, Your Honor, at that point in time because she just kept on aggravating me about money, and that's the only time I've ever heard from her is when it was money.
Judge Lauren ends up asking Mr. Sandifer if he helped raise Miss Fields, but he says he was there for half her life. It was her grandparents who actually raised her. Because of financial issues, he couldn't support Miss Fields. And at the same time, he never even signed the birth certificate.
My name's not on her birth certificate. Doesn't have no comparison to me or any of my family.
You are my father. You are my father. I don't compare to you because you were never around me.
I have doubts.
I was adopted to my grandparents because my mother couldn't afford. She couldn't afford to take care of 3 children by herself.
Mr. Sandifer ends up arguing with poor Miss Fields and starts blaming her. But he's forgetting that he's the adult in this situation, and if he had doubts, he should have gotten a DNA test right in the beginning. Instead, he starts blaming the grandparents now.
I called him dad because he raised me from the time I was 13.
Girl, no, he didn't raise
He bought
you.
my senior
Then why do
picture.
you always come to me for money and not them if he's your dad?
I go to them, but you're my father.
But
you're
you always
supposed
say
to
that
do
he's
for
come
me.
down
You are
to me.
supposed to do for me.
You'll
You are
help
my
me
father.
before they
Introduce
will.
me as your child.
On top of that, Miss Fields had no idea someone else might be her father. At this point, Judge Lauren is curious about her relationship with Miss Boyer. Turns out they've got a rocky relationship, and it's because where Mr. Sandifer abandoned Miss Fields, he actually fought for Miss Boyer's custody. Time for her chance to speak.
He was in a relationship with my mother when I was born, and he lived with us till I was 5 years old. The reason there is another man on my birth certificate, Your Honor, is because my mother was married and separated.
And told me I was the father.
But because she was still married back 30 years ago, you had to put your husband on the birth certificate.
When Miss Boyer's mother abandoned her forever, it was Mr. Sandifer who showed up for her. After one long legal battle, he finally had her custody. But even then, he had his doubts. The only reason he didn't raise them was because he didn't want to leave the poor girl alone.
If you're not my dad, why did you fight for me?
Because I love you and I manned up. Why did you leave me when I already had custody and go back to your mother? That's what I don't understand.
I didn't go to my mother.
You did?
I went to
Atlanta,
my brother.
to Georgia?
When I went to visit him, though, when he
You were
brought
at
me
your mother's.
back, I was 14 years old.
With Mr. Sandifer now arguing with Miss Boyer, Judge Lauren interrupts them and asks about the poor woman's feelings. She admits she felt abandoned, and Mr. Sandifer starts arguing that it was because she quit school. But as her legal father, wasn't it his job to ensure she went to school?
May not have been the best dad in the world, but I tried my darndest. I worked my butt off so hard and tried to do things for y'all when I can and when I can afford it.
So pretty much, Ms. Boyer, you blame him.
Yes, Your Honor.
Because you feel like this relationship or lack of relationship caused you to drop out of school.
Yes, Your Honor.
And that's why Miss Boyer's suing Mr. Sandifer for the same amount it takes to sign up for the GED. Both of these women are trying to find out whether this man is their father. It's caused them a lot of distress growing up, and the only way to erase that trauma is to see what the DNA says.
Mr. Sandifer, you are not her father.
I was sure he was my father.
God almighty.
My kids need a grandparent, so I've got to find.
You got one. You got a father still. You still got a father.
I would love for you to be in their life.
Sometimes women really need to learn a lesson. For example, try not to sleep with a married man. But oh well, it's not completely Miss Streeter's fault because she had no idea Mr. Hartfield had a wife back at home. Now, there's a child with no known father and a marriage that could break apart.
We were dating about 8 months, a long time. We were in a relationship, a committed relationship with just me and him. Throughout the whole relationship, he wanted to have a baby. He said he didn't get to raise any of his. We went to the hospital and we got the birth control taken out together. We went together.
She's telling you guys a bunch of lies.
The entire time Miss Streeter is telling her story, Mr. Hartfield keeps interrupting her. She says that they tracked down her menstrual cycle so they could have sex during the fertility window. That's how desperate he was to have sex with her. What does he have to say for all this cheap behavior?
I made that very clear.
He's lying.
In fact, Your Honor, if I'm lying, then how would she have information to call my wife when I was paying her, paying her not to tell my wife about the situation?
Our first time having sex, we went down
Because
the
I did
street
not
from
pay
his
the
house
rent,
to a hotel.
she called her.
He's lying. That don't have nothing to do with why I called your wife.
But the real question is, how did Miss Streeter find out about this guy's wife? Well, one day, a relative's name slipped from Mr. Hartfield's tongue. Miss Streeter did what any woman would have done. She went to Facebook for a little stalking mission, and that's when she discovered the nasty truth.
I text her and let her know, like, your husband's been cheating on you for 8 months and I'm 5 months pregnant. He's trying to make it seem like we was never in a relationship and that this never happened, but he just texted me just recently trying to get back with me, trying to tell me he want to be with me.
Oh my God.
So that's
Is that true, sir?
No.
So Mr. Hartfield really was two-timing with his wife and Miss Streeter. That's got Judge Lauren in a state of pure shock. And the worst part is, he tries to justify it by saying he was playing some kind of game with Miss Streeter. This throws the judge into disbelief, and she starts asking what 46-year-old plays pregnancy games with a 22-year-old.
You're dealing with a guy that ain't got no money, so now you wasting your time.
That's not true. That's not
but
true.
because you done wasted so much time telling people that he's your baby's father, that now you got to play the role. And so that's exactly what she's been doing.
Nobody don't care about money because I was sitting here because I love him.
Daddy hangs
Genuinely,
up on you,
I was supposed to be
for money.
Finally, Judge Lauren gives Mrs. Hartfield a chance to speak. After all, it must be painful for her sitting there listening to her husband fight with his mistress. So, how did Mrs. Hartfield even find out about the whole situation?
How did you even find out about this entire affair?
The text message that I received from her.
You get a text message?
A random text message that says, I'm in a relationship with your husband and have been for 8 months, and I'm pregnant. And that's it.
What do you do from there?
What the bleepity bleep is going on here?
Mrs. Hartfield told Miss Streeter the truth. Mr. Hartfield wasn't man enough to help raise her kids, so there's no way he was going to be there for Miss Streeter. At first, he showed a lot of enthusiasm about raising a new baby, but then he openly admits to the court that he never said any of it.
His name is placed on the certificate of birth. So, Mr. Hartfield, you're a married man, but you're on this child's original birth certificate.
No, well, the name is printed. There's no signature of mine.
So, at first, you allowed your name to be printed?
They did that while I wasn't there, Your Honor.
This is the first copy before he took off the name.
Mr. Hartfield, you're saying it didn't go like this?
It didn't.
Basically, so far, these two have been trying to convince Judge Lauren that the other person's been lying. Mr. Hartfield wants to make amends in his relationship with his wife, while Miss Streeter wants him to man up and take care of the baby. Who will the results favor?
You are the father. Do you understand now what you just made a child with?
Right.
I don't know what he told you up until this point. I will say that con men like him, they can be very charismatic. You two are both very beautiful young women. You don't have to deal with this. But I want you to see clearly in this courtroom today how he has acted.
It's one thing to father a child, but it's absolutely chaos when you've already got a girlfriend with kids. Mr. Macon got Miss Puckett pregnant, and now the baby boy's almost 2 years old. Yet he keeps denying this kid so he can save his relationship with his girlfriend, Miss Glover.
She got 5 kids by 5 different baby daddies.
And you could be the 6th.
No, I ain't. If we ain't have sex till like 3 months after, I wouldn't even have sex with her.
But you did have sex
me
with her.
Me and Miss Glover, we wasn't together at the time.
Did you use protection?
Yes.
You did?
But it was.
Mr. Macon says that Miss Puckett's been obsessed with him since they met. She went and got a tattoo on her neck 3 weeks after meeting him. And when he got her pregnant, he refused to believe her. On top of that, she had no idea he already had a girlfriend.
He was treating me real good. He buy me stuff. He gave me money when I needed it. If I needed anything, my kids anything, he'd do for them. When I was pregnant, he was rubbing on my belly like he was happy and he was concerned about it. And I have a picture of him rubbing on my belly when I was about 6 months.
Let me see that picture. Jerome, will you hand it to me, please? Is this you?
Yeah.
But Miss Puckett was a wild woman. She wanted to have sex every day. Mr. Macon already has a kid with his girlfriend, and his name is Macon Jr. And guess what Miss Puckett's kid is named? Macon Jr. too. So not only did he get 2 women pregnant, he made them both name their kids after him.
He came in and he was looking at the baby, playing with my son, and then so he said, so what you naming him? I said, I'm naming him after my brother. I said, 'cause that's what my grandma want me to do. No, you're not naming him that. You're not naming him that. You name him Steve. So he said, call the nurse. I called the nurse and she said, are you sure this is your child? He said, yeah.
Then Miss Puckett submits the birth certificate as evidence, but Mr. Macon keeps insisting that he never signed it. The court knows sometimes people forge official documents, so they decide to call the hospital to counter-check Miss Puckett's claim. Then Miss Glover presents her testimony.
I didn't answer because I have kids, my kids in the house, and the way she was doing, boom, 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 kicking the door. Why would I answer the door like that?
I ain't gonna do nothing to no kids. I'm coming for you.
To me, I don't know her.
All right, let's get some order. Let's get some order.
Judge Lauren scolds Miss Glover for blaming Miss Puckett because it was Mr. Macon who actually trapped her into a love affair. It's not her fault that Miss Glover's boyfriend turned out to be so dishonest. Well, the lives of 2 kids is hanging in the middle, so Jerome better bring out the results ASAP.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Macon Sr., you are his father.
You know what? You sent her that text message talking about some that's your baby that y'all can go have sex on into the sunlight. Well, sunlight time, baby. I'll holler.
What reason would she have to claim that your brother?
Because what he has going on, he's trying to be a rapper.
People who are trying to be rappers, they don't have any money, so
yeah, that's what I'm saying. But
was there sexual contact?
Yes, Your Honor.
So how can you not expect this woman to do that?
Because that was her best friend.
Miss Davis claims with certainty that Mr. Gilbert is the biological father of her son, Corey. She believes that Mr. Gilbert's doubt about being the father is fueled by the influence of his sister. While Mr. Gilbert concedes that he initially believed he was Corey's father, rumors from his family changed his perspective. Family needs to stop being Karen.
We planted this baby, and then when I got pregnant, he was there, and it's like when he told his family I was pregnant, that's when they turned against me, and they had put in his mind that he's not the father of my son.
Tell me about the relationship.
We met in my old neighborhood. It was like love at first sight when we was in love. I didn't want to get pregnant, but he wanted a child.
Judge Lake questions Mr. Gilbert's paternity doubts despite his desire to have a baby with Miss Davis. Mr. Gilbert's suspicions arise from his disapproval of Miss Davis's friends. However, Miss Davis defends herself, emphasizing that Mr. Gilbert knew of her friendships beforehand. The judge is surprised to learn they were only together for 4 months before the pregnancy.
You already decided you want her to be the mother of your children. 4 months?
Yes, ma'am.
So why do you doubt paternity then?
He wrote a love song about me.
You're a singer, Mr. Gilbert?
Yes, ma'am.
And you wrote a love song about her?
Yes, ma'am.
So I don't understand how you're doubting her.
It's not down her, it's just down the situation at hand.
Mr. Gilbert, once confident in his paternity, is now in doubt due to family influence. Looking at a photo where he kisses Miss Davis's pregnant stomach, both appear blissfully happy. He is deeply upset, wanting the child to be his. However, family disagreements cast uncertainty over the child's paternity.
She was messing with other people at the time, Your Honor.
What other people? You don't even know me.
That's why I'm saying we heard from people that she was pregnant before she started messing with my brother. And my brother, if he could have kids, he'd have 6 of them. He hasn't have any. And that's why we're in denial, because my brother, he's sick and he hasn't conceived any kids.
Miss Jones asserts that the child doesn't resemble her brother, Mr. Gilbert. As doubts surfaced during Miss Davis's pregnancy, Jones mentioned that Gilbert had been told he couldn't produce kids due to scarlet fever. Yet Davis argues that while other women claim to be pregnant by Gilbert, she was the one who actually was.
What reason would she have to claim that your brother?
Because what he has going on, he's trying to be a rapper.
I was in the music business for a long time. People who are trying to be rappers, they don't have any money, so
yeah, that's what I'm saying. But people think, I know they don't have any money, but people think they're going to make it, so of course they are trying to pin the baby on you.
Miss Jones states that she heard rumors about Miss Davis having threesomes and being pregnant before meeting her brother. Miss Davis firmly denies these allegations, emphasizing that she planned her child with Mr. Gilbert and that these rumors are baseless. Mr. Gilbert seems to be caught between the conflicting accounts.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Gilbert, you are the father. Miss Davis, what are you feeling, honey?
Because I've been trying to get this out for so long, and it hurt. It hurt bad.
Miss Hillman claims Mr. O'Neill got her pregnant and hasn't done anything for their 13-month-old son, DeMarcus. She wants a DNA test to prove he is the father. O'Neill is certain he's not the biological father. Miss Hillman reveals that Mr. O'Neill has no relationship with DeMarcus and doesn't provide financially. Her mother and the baby's godmother help her instead.
Well, Your Honor, he don't do nothing for him. They don't have no relationship together. Like when I hold him, Your Honor, and my baby go to reach for him, he ignore him.
Does he provide for the baby financially?
No, he don't do nothing. My mom and the baby's godmother is the one that actually helps me with everything. And that's not right. That's not right on my son, because he didn't ask to be here.
Mr. O'Neill admits that he expressed interest in being in a relationship with Miss Hillman shortly after meeting her. However, he now doubts he's the father of her child, suspecting she might have been pregnant before they met. Miss Hillman and her family believe the child looks like Mr. O'Neill and argue he should take responsibility.
You all met, and very
Well,
quickly
mutual
you
friend.
said you wanted to be in a relationship with Miss Hillman. Is that correct, Mr. O'Neill?
Yes, Your Honor.
And so you did tell her, okay, we're in a relationship now, and you all were having sex. Were you using protection?
No.
So I
The
know.
man wasn't neither.
Mr. O'Neill alleges he saw Miss Hillman in suspicious situations with her ex, pointing to text messages between them as proof. Miss Hillman denies these accusations. Mr. O'Neill claims he physically caught her with her ex on her mom's porch, which Miss Hillman vehemently refutes.
Mr. O'Neill, do you have any reason to believe she was still having sex with her ex?
I think he stayed the night when I left.
You know what? I'm just gonna say it like this. You was a deadbeat. You know that baby is yours. He looked just like y'all. You should step up whether or not. If you wanted this, why wait till he 13 months? You should have did it in the beginning.
Mr. O'Neill recounts an incident at the park where he was approached by a stranger inquiring if he was Miss Hillman's baby daddy. After confirming, the stranger alleges that the baby actually belongs to his friend. Mr. O'Neill's reaction in this situation made him seem like he was trying to act like a Karen.
Was she pregnant or was DeMarcus born when this happened?
He was already born.
So at that time, you were accepting him as your child? You
Man.
told the man yes.
At the time, until he got a little older.
And then when he got older, what happened?
He started not looking like me.
Judge Lake addresses Mr. O'Neill about his doubts concerning the paternity of DeMarcus. Initially, Mr. O'Neill accepted the child, but as DeMarcus grew, he began to have reservations, fearing the child didn't resemble him. Ms. Hillman disputes this, arguing that DeMarcus shares noticeable traits with Mr. O'Neill's family. Does the DNA report reflect the same?
Mr. O'Neill, you are the father.
Can I sit in?
You did all that.
Can I sit in?
Miss Hillman, would it
Can I
be
come out of
okay
what?
if Mr. O'Neill saw his son?
That's fine.
I'm happy.
You look happy.
Ms. Schneck claims that Mr. Robinson began doubting the paternity of their daughter, Serenity, when she turned 2, causing him to distance himself, which hurts their child. Mr. Robinson asserts that he was deeply involved in Serenity's life from her birth. However, when Ms. Schneck, behaving like a Karen, suddenly suggested he might not be the biological father.
So, Mr. Robinson, I want to understand what happened that changed everything for you as it relates to your little girl.
Well, Your Honor, up to 2 years of Serenity's life, I was there for her and Mrs. Shank until about 5 months. She was 5 months pregnant. She told me that I may not be her father because she slept with a friend.
Around 5 months into her pregnancy, Ms. Schneck admitted to Mr. Robinson that she had slept with one of his friends, casting doubt on who the biological father was. Ms. Schneck was initially unsure about the paternity when she discovered she was pregnant, as she had been in an on-again, off-again relationship with Mr. Robinson.
When you found out you were pregnant, did you think he was the father, or did you know right off the bat there could possibly be another father?
I didn't know. When I first found out I was pregnant, he was there, like he said. We were in an on and off relationship. Around the time I had slept with him, I did sleep with somebody else.
Ms. Schneck admitted to Mr. Robinson that she had relations with another man when the condom broke. She originally believed Mr. Robinson was the father, but doubt arose, prompting her to text her cousin about her concerns. Despite the uncertainty, Mr. Robinson was present at the birth and remained involved in the child's life.
I was there through her whole pregnancy. I was there through her birth certificate. My name is on it.
And then now you have this beautiful little girl, and you step up and you're her father.
Yes, ma'am. Up until the 5 after when she told me that she had slept with somebody else, that's what made me push myself away from Serenity.
Mr. Robinson began to distance himself from Serenity after learning that Ms. Schneck planned to have another man tested for paternity. She couldn't locate the other man, but believed her daughter looked more like him than Mr. Robinson. Despite their rocky relationship, the two share another child, which Ms. Schneck confirms looks like Mr. Robinson.
You say Mr. Robinson now treats baby Serenity differently than your other child.
Yes.
Explain.
him and his mother came and picked up my son, and my daughter was devastated because she couldn't go. Even sometimes when my son talks to his father on the phone, and after he gets off, Serenity says, "I want to talk to daddy," and my son says, "That's not your daddy."
After talking to his father, Ms. Schneck's son tells Serenity, "That's not your daddy." The judge remarks that children shouldn't be involved in adult matters. Then Ms. Schneck's mother, Donna Schneck, steps up to testify. She's present to support her daughter and is asked about her observations of the situation.
When it comes to 2-year-old Serenity Shank, Jamario Robinson is her father. How do you feel, Mr. Robinson?
I feel great.
Good.
I feel great.
Mr. Watson disputes being the father of Miss Mahoney's son, Kevin, suspecting she was with 2 other men during his absence. Miss Mahoney, acting like a Karen, adamantly denies these accusations and is almost certain of Mr. Watson's paternity. Mr. Watson states their relationship and future marriage hinges on the paternity test results, hoping Kevin is his biological son.
I've known her since we were kids. We need to get these results because, we are engaged and I would like to marry her, and I really hope this is my son.
And you say the relationship's on the line, meaning if the results don't turn out the way you would like, the relationship, the marriage, everything?
It's out the window, Your Honor. It's over with.
Mr. Watson claims Miss Mahoney had 2 men living with her, providing gifts and support. She confirms this, but explains it was due to her financial struggles, and they were family friends. She asserts she only offered them a place to stay, denying any other involvement. Mr. Watson, skeptical, believes they were not just close family friends.
Did you ever ask him, are you sleeping with?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
And what was his response?
He said yes.
There's been many girls doing it to the same. We have a problem where there's lots of people that were in our life trying to split us up.
So he said he was having sex with Miss Mahoney?
Yes.
You confronted her about that?
Yes, multiple times.
The conversation revolves around the distinction between being a father and a dad. Mr. Watson argues about the responsibilities he missed while being away and is upset about other men being around the child. A clarification is sought about whether another man claimed to be the biological father or simply taking the role of a father figure.
I do want to make a clarification. Did he say he was the biological father, or did this man say he was stepping up to be a father?
No, he said
Pretty
that,
much, Your Honor.
He said that was
it how he wants.
He said that was his kid and that he's in love with her and that's his girl. He always says that. Even to this day, he says that, Your Honor.
The dialogue delves into allegations of fidelity. Mr. Watson brings up accusations he heard about Miss Mahoney's alleged relations with multiple men. These claims were apparently made by her former friend, who also stated they were intimate under a bridge. Miss Mahoney confronts Mr. Watson about this, pointing out the hypocrisy in his accusations towards her.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman in any kind.
We've heard that before.
Right.
Was there sexual contact?
Yes, Your Honor.
So how can you not expect this woman to do that?
Because that was her best friend. That was her ride or die. They were together every day of the minute.
Miss Mahoney recounts the emotional aftermath of discovering what transpired between Mr. Watson and her best friend. This revelation led to Mr. Watson expressing doubts about the paternity of their child, even influencing the naming process. In response to the paternity questions, Miss Mahoney sought out a DNA test through government assistance in conjunction with child support.
Mr. Watson, why don't you believe those results?
I even posted it on Facebook.
Because first of all, Your Honor, her friend forged paper. I didn't see no government stamp on it. When I read it, it read like 99
of the black population.
The court, having done its research, discovered that it typically takes between 2 weeks to a month to obtain such results. Yet Miss Mahoney took 7 days. She couldn't explain the delay, leading to doubts from Mr. Watson. In defense, Miss Mahoney expresses her shock that in court, the question of a delayed DNA result becomes the focus.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Watson, you are the father.
See? I love you so much.
I'm sorry, baby. I love you.
Ms. Crow has brought Miss Reinhardt to court to prove that Miss Reinhardt's deceased son, J.C. Turner, is the father of Miss Crow's 2-year-old son, Thomas. Miss Crow wants her son to know his family heritage. Miss Reinhardt, however, believes that Miss Crow is falsely claiming J.C. as the father in order to gain financial benefits from his death.
Miss Crow, are you doing this just for the money?
It is more than just the money. I would like help with my son, yes, of course, but my son cannot grow up and meet his father. So he deserves that right to know who his father is and to know who his family is.
Miss Crow met Jay at a skate park, and they quickly became close. They entered a relationship, had unprotected sex, and she later became pregnant. Jay was happy about the pregnancy and never denied being the father. If alive, she believes they wouldn't be in court over paternity issues.
He'd have believed you if you told him the sky was purple.
Well, that's your own opinion.
That's your own opinion. The mental capacity of a 16-year-old.
And this how, okay, and you know what? He had feelings.
He was schizophrenic.
He had feelings.
He was schizophrenic and he had stress seizures.
Okay. And I took care of him.
And my son,
I didn't leave him because of that.
Mom.
Miss Reinhardt believes her son was too close to her to hide a child. She argues that her grandchildren all resemble her and displays their similarities using baby pictures. Miss Crow counters saying her genes are strong. She believes her son shares traits and behaviors with Jay.
Miss Crow, do you see a resemblance to his dad?
My son, he has silly sense of humor like Jay. He likes to dance like Jay. And you know, just right there, you can see it. Like his hair, that is Jay. There are things about him that are a lot like me, but at the same time, you cannot deny that. That's his father.
The speaker recounts ending a relationship due to concerns over her partner's behavior and safety concerns for her children. Despite difficulties reaching Miss Reinhardt, she sent her partner to Topeka, Kansas. When their son Thomas was born, JC proudly claimed, and the speaker remained confident, that JC was the father, having been with no one else.
He did come when my son was 3 months old. He had me take pictures on his phone with him and his son. And after that, you know, we went our separate ways and, you know, other things happened, but I was trying to take care of my family, you know, and that's what I was doing.
All I know is I saw a picture on Facebook of another man that
my
she was
boyfriend.
with.
That's not his father. He was Jamaican. Does he look half Jamaican?
The speaker describes being separated from JC, living in different locations. She discovers JC's passing through a Facebook post by a mutual friend. In her distress, she confirms his death with the coroner's office. She highlights that she was the one who informed Miss Reinhardt of JC's demise. Where will the DNA result lead this case?
It has been determined by this court. The percentage of relatedness between Ms. Reinhardt and Thomas Crow is 99.6% you are related.
You just told the court that you had not cheated, and yet now you say you get even. That doesn't make sense. So you say you cheat to get even?
Well, I tell him that to make him mad.
Let's not go back down negative roads.
I'm sorry.
You know? I mean, that's what drives me crazy.
The defendant had some serious as heck doubts regarding the paternity of baby Amir. But hold on, his doubts got further fueled, or should I say confirmed, by a suspicious text he received a couple of weeks ago. There was denial, there was a mystery, and all sorts of drama. What more could you want, you paternity peeps? Hop in, and let's get this show on the road.
Night, seen I had a missed message. I see that message on there, and I instantly got up and called her. Like, who is this? I asked her, do she know the person? She said no. I looked up
It comes from a number you don't even know. Miss Turner, do you remember that night when you got that call from Mr. Jones saying, I got a text message?
Yes, ma'am.
What happened?
I don't know who that is, but like I told him, you know, he got so many females.
So the midnight text caused the intended ruckus, just the way it was meant to be. Now, Miss Turner was quick to blame it all on the haters. Yeah, what are you, ma'am, a celebrity? Well, they do seem to live in their own little world, don't they? Let's see the damage the text left behind in its wake.
Who is the hater that writes, why are you claiming that baby? Men running in and out of her house. Get a DNA test. Don't be a fool. Who's the hater that would write that?
Female friends that don't like him being with me, so it could be one of them. It don't have to be a man. They could have took somebody, throw somebody profile.
Ah, the good old tangled web of love and a whole lot of suspicion. Sounds like a heartbreaking saga of betrayal from the defendant's perspective. Oh, he was hurt. Now, add the neighbor's late night texts into this mix, and baby daddy's mind was probably blown. Sounds like Miss Turner was a busy bee on the phone.
We was in a relationship, everything was okay at that time. She was pregnant, we had a whole lot of falling out. And mainly, this is why I got doubts. He had texted her one day when I went to work, like 6 in the morning, right after I left for work, trying to come over.
Come over for what?
That's what I'm trying to know.
Oh boy, like those messages were not enough to throw baby daddy's world into chaos. Incoming? The exes. Yeah, just imagine seeing your girl in cahoots with everyone. Not something I would want to see, man. It's terrible.
Most of my friends that I'm cool with, if I'm cool with their boyfriend or whatever, I do call. If they like a brotherly figure to me, I call them bro. They call me sis. I ain't around here sleeping with nobody and they talking about some sis, or I'm talking about some bro, cause that's trifling.
But it's the same guy I told.
So up till now, it was just a whirlwind of suspicions and mysteries, and all based on cryptic messages. Those might be enough to convince Mr. Jones of his girl's infidelity, but they certainly weren't enough to convince the court.
He'll come to my job and chill with me for a little bit. Then he'll be like, oh, I'm about to go home and lay down. But he going somewhere else. He making little detours over somebody else's house.
Who else was chilling at you
That's the problem. So since he want to go out and talk to somebody else, so yeah, I got to hit my ex up like, good morning.
But you
Why
love
would I tell you good morning?
But you love him.
Oh,
you still love him.
He didn't deserve that no more.
But no worries, people, because baby daddy had proof. Oh yes, Miss Turner dialed his number by accident. And guess what? He caught her in a quite compromising situation. Now that's terrible. It seemed both played the revenge game pretty strongly, leaving the window of conception a mess.
Well, however she called me, I don't know if it was on purpose. But for me, I didn't answer the phone. It was a message.
Why you ain't answer the phone, though? Why you ain't answer the phone? Where was he at?
On my voicemail.
Where was he at, though? Why you ain't answer the phone?
It was a message. It was late night. I was asleep. I heard moaning, and I heard another man talking in the background.
Who was moaning? A woman or a man?
It was a woman.
In the wise words of the judge, a lot was going on in that 1 month of conception. The quid pro quo came right back to haunt these guys, especially the baby mama.
I pulled up on my ex. I thought about doing something with him, but at the time I was already pregnant because I had took a pregnancy test, and we was already rocking in because I was ready. He already knew when I called him, told him I was pregnant. We was about to break up. I was about done with him anyway. We was just, you know what I'm saying? Let's try to work it out for the baby. We ain't, our parents wasn't in the same household with us.
Drum roll, please. It was time for the truth. Who was the real father of little Amir? That was the $1 million question. And we had the answer for you. All set and ready to be rolled out.
Mr. Jones, you are the father.
Okay.
That don't mean all that.
You feel, no, it do. It do.
It just mean the baby mine.
For 25 good years, Miss Beauville lived with the truth that she had a father. But that bliss soon turned into a nightmare when Daddy Dearest dropped the "I'm not your dad" bomb. Cue the heartbreak and all kinds of confusion. But she was a fighter and was ready to prove Mr. Beauville wrong.
I received a phone call from another brother of mine stating that my dad had doubts that if he was my father or not due to activities that happened before I was born. That was during Thanksgiving on a holiday weekend, and he felt like my mom was unfaithful and was doing things that wasn't right within the relationship.
Picture this, a Thanksgiving dinner, family tensions, and ta-da! A bombshell revelation. Well, the cat's out of the bag now, so let's rewind a little. This family grapevine was buzzing for a decade, and people have been telling the defendant all sorts of rumors. This led to the baby mama getting real with him right then and there.
I had no clue that he ever doubted that Carrie was his daughter.
Carrie was devastated. My daughter broke down, and this is my only daughter.
I asked one of my sons for Carrie's number because I wanted to share something with him. When I told my son how I felt about this situation that we're here today for.
There was a lot to unpack in this case, folks. The doubts and reservations surrounding the pregnancy hit like a ton of bricks. Now, Mr. Beauville claimed he met someone who looked like the spitting image of the alleged daughter. And that's when the "uh-oh, I might not be the father" alarm went off. But Miss Beauville shut that down.
And I finally met some of Carrie's cousin. And the person that I'm talking to, one of her cousins, is his granddaughter. Your Honor, if I had a picture and showed it to you right now of her cousin, you would believe that would be Carrie. If I showed you her picture, you would believe that was Carrie. And that's when I said, you know, I knew I was right. I knew I was right.
Rise and shine, birth certificate. Rise and shine. Now, there was no father listed there. Uh-oh, something for sure wasn't adding up. Next, we learned that Mr. Beauville relocated with his wife to avoid these rumors. Alas, only if it was that easy, because the suspicions tagged right along with him and Miss Regina. Yup, rumors of her involvement with another man haunted him for a decade.
You didn't let him sign the birth certificate, Ms. Duval?
Ma'am, no, that's not the case. Mr. Beauville never took the time to go there and sign those birth certificates. I told him time and time again, you are a grown man. Go to that hospital, to the wherever, and sign your children's birth certificate.
Well, this other guy sure became a nuisance. However, Miss Duval vehemently denied any infidelity, but the baby daddy didn't buy any of it and kept on running his mouth. So much so, the poor girl broke down. The absence of a father got to her, and she poured her heart out. And yet the guy had the gall to talk over her.
South Carolina, he gonna say, that's my baby, that's my baby. See what I'm saying?
About Carrie.
Yeah, see, I would say, you know how, yeah, about Carrie, that's my baby, that's my baby.
That is a lie straight from hell.
Why would they start this type of rumor, especially a person in the family? What would be the motive?
The floodgates were broken. There was no stopping it now. Oh boy, Miss Carrie and her siblings suffered a heck of a lot at the hands of their supposed father, all because he believed the rumors and wasted a decade over it. Terrible, terrible indeed.
I've let people hurt me because of you and not having the love of a father. And if you have a father, you would never understand what not having a father does to you, especially being a black woman. And I love God with all my heart, but it was your mother and your...
Miss Carrie's tears, apologies, and family wounds ran deep. With the courtroom drama reaching its climax, the truth may be the only thing to set them free. But hold on, because it can also bring even more surprises. Let's see which way the dice rolled.
Mr. Beauville, you are the father.
He knows and he has no more reason to doubt me as his daughter. I really just want to tell him that I'm so sorry that you missed out.
The stakes were higher for this case, as Miss Hunter had a past that so did not help the present circumstances. Oh yes, from fake pregnancies to photoshopping fake evidence. She sure landed in troubled waters when a very real pregnancy happened. A spicy cocktail of deceit, doubt, and paternity puzzles coming right up.
You were faking pregnancies.
Yes.
So the relationship was rocky.
Exactly.
So you said you were gonna fake like you were pregnant.
Yes.
So what did you do?
I had my friend Photoshop my pregnancy test, and she put my name on it.
You and your husband were together.
We weren't officially together. It wasn't exclusive. He was messing with other girls, and I was talking to other people.
Now, their relationship wasn't exclusive, but baby mama pulled quite a few strings to make it one. They were all about that rocky love roller coaster. Nothing new, same old, same old. But hold on, because here's where it gets saucy. Mrs. Hunter decided to fake not one, not two, but 5 pregnancies. Oh my! 5 bun-in-the-oven fabrications? No wonder the guy denied it.
It's not the first time. It's been about 5 times. And
5 lies.
5 lies, 5 pregnancies.
5
times.
faked pregnancies.
Yes, 5. No, I was supposed to have had a baby like in that time, 3 years in that time. You know, I was supposed to have a baby and never had a baby. You know, and that's why I thought it was just a lot of stuff that
Time to get into the nitty-gritty. Imagine being shot and the doctor discloses that you're sterile, aka unable to father any children. And then, voila, the wife announced a pregnancy. Ouch! Well, the trust factor in this relationship certainly hit rock bottom, and so the betrayal hangs heavy in the air.
Ms. Hunter is pregnant.
Yeah, that's a couple of months after I just got shot. I couldn't even perform right, you know?
Yes, he could. He was performing better than ever then.
Mr. Hunter, you get shot in the
groin area.
the groin area.
Yeah, in the groin area.
So you get shot in the groin area. Yeah. The doctors give you this news.
Yes,
He's lying. He was cheating.
And
okay, well,
he was out there cheating.
Well, that was surely a real kicker, am I right? And oh, the arguments about late night texts, Walmart trips at odd hours. And wait, there's more. Supposed sightings of mysterious guys in cars. Man, oh man, the missus sure was fond of going places at odd hours. This marriage had more twists than a daytime soap opera.
He was texting on the phone.
Texting and having sex is totally different from actually having sex with
She'll tell me she's going to the store. Don't come back for 3-4 hours. And this is about 11 o'clock. You come back 2-3 hours in the morning talking about you looking for stores and stuff. Walmart, you shopping at Walmart. Walmart is closed at 12 o'clock. You know, like.
Hold on to your hats, because we're about to dive right into the window of conception. Oh, and it was stuffed with doubts and confusion. But hold on. Miss Hunter ultimately confessed. Yup, but just to texting other guys, not to the cheating part. However, baby daddy brought along a witness to prove her wrong.
That's what I'm saying. It's calls, phone calls. I mean, I can't even see her phone. I never see her phone or anything.
she looks just like Mr. Hunter. You brought a witness today, and you claim that this person has seen your wife cheating. Have you witnessed Miss Hunter cheating on Mr. Hunter?
I've seen her riding by, and I've seen somebody in the car.
Oh my, after hearing that, the Mrs. testimony doesn't sound so truthful now, does it? Furthermore, the woman axed her foot after confessing to domestic fights. She cheated. But for now, she was blowing a different tune here. Yep, you guessed it right, that she lied to get back at him for his cheating. Man, are they a toxic couple or what?
I lied because he cheated on me just to get even.
I've never cheated on you to get even. I mean, it happened. It would happen, it happened.
Be everywhere.
You just told the court that you had not cheated, and yet now you say you get even. That doesn't make sense. So you say you cheat to get even?
Well, I tell him that to make him mad, really.
Now, wait a minute. Before the baby mama figures out the paternity of her child, her paternity was very much a question mark still. And a man was present in the court who very well could end up being her biological father. What are the odds of that happening? Let's hear it.
It was not just a one-night thing. You had a sexual relationship. This could potentially be during the window of time that Ms. Hunter was conceived.
I remember around the time, maybe about 3-4 months after we stopped the intimate part of our relationship, I heard something about her being pregnant.
Well, the results were in, and there were 2 of them. Oh yeah, Mr. Triplett along with Mr. Hunter both got tested for paternity. Now, this could go either way, pure bliss or plain old devastation. Here goes nothing.
In the case of Hunter versus Hunter, when it comes to the paternity of 2-year-old Shiana Hunter, Mr. Hunter, you are her father.
Ha ha.